The World Trade Center is located in the financial district of Lower Manhattan, New York City. As a center of capitalism and economic development in the United States, the site became sacred on the day of September 11, 2001. The space is sacred as it marks the exact location where the Twin Towers fell and resulted in the loss of about 3,000 lives. Within a month after the event, efforts were underway to plan and coordinate the creation process of the memorial. Within a year, all Ground Zero debris had been cleaned up, and within 2 years, a memorial jury had appointed a final design and architect. This video is about the resultant National September 11th Memorial, providing a physical sense of being at the sacred space of the memorial.
Another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I can see it on this shot.
Oh my!
Something else has
You know what?
and
We
that
just
looks
saw
more
a
like
plane
a
circling the
747.
building. We just saw a plane circling.
The whole side has collapsed?
The whole building has collapsed.
As you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words.
This memorial features 5 principles of visual vocabulary as applied to terrorist memorials. The first principle is that the relatives of the victims collaborate with the design committee in the creation of the memorial. In the case of the 9/11 memorial, relatives were on the jury advisory board for selecting the final design and architect. The second principle is the recreation of the site by constructing a landscape. All 3 memorials heavily feature water and tree elements in their reconstructed sites. The 9/11 memorial contains an urban plaza lined with swamp white oak trees. The trees were selected due to their strength and resilience. There is a survivor tree that stands at the center of the plaza and signifies the strength and resilience of 9/11 survivors. The third principle is the use of local stone and concrete. The memorial's plaza is lined with stone and concrete, and the original bedrock of the Twin Tower buildings is located below the site. Platforms and seats have been constructed out of the stone that allow visitors to sit and rest while at the memorial. The fourth principle is the specific individual citation of each victim lost. This is manifest in the memorial as each name is listed on the parapet walls of the reflection pools. The names are arranged in a system of meaningful adjacencies that position victims' names next to the names of fellow victims who are family, friends, and coworkers. The letters of the names are engraved in the parapet rather than raised lettering to symbolize the loss of each individual. The fifth principle is the creation and allowance of public access to the memorial. Visitors can enter the space free of charge, and the stone benches, grass and tree-filled landscape, and open space welcome visitors into the site. Visitors can either quickly pass through or pay tribute to the victims in act of terrorism for lengthy amounts of time. The designer of the memorial is architect Michael Arad. The final product of the memorial is a collaboration with landscape architect Peter Walker. The intended focal point of the design are the 2 reflection pools. The pools outline the footprints of the Twin Towers, giving a visual and physical sense of their absence. The incorporation of falling water into a deep, dark abyss highlights the sorrow and solemn nature of the attacks and loss of life. The sound of the falling water is intended to drown out the surrounding sound of the city. The urban plaza is intended to act as any normal city plaza. It invites visitors to pass through quickly on the way to work, leisurely remain for casual talk and lunch, or pay tribute to the victims of the site. The benches provide space in which visitors can sit, and the trees and grass provide aesthetic beauty within the urban metropolis. The dichotomy between night and day at the memorial is striking. The urban plaza highlights the urban chaos and bustle during the working hours of the day. At night, however, the illumination of the names and falling water of the reflection pools make the space especially poignant and emotional. With the surrounding buildings illuminated with their own respective lights, the outlined lights and footprints of where the Twin Towers stood is grave and solemn. There are three different types of criticisms applied to the finished memorial. The first type of criticism highlights the strict security and enforcement at the memorial. Police units sit at the memorial corners, and memorial security officers confront visitors about leaning on the reflection pool parapet walls or getting too close to the walls with a tripod.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
As long as that on a tripod, it's going to be 20 feet from the pools.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to answer back.
Okay. Is it like the whole
Everything.
Although strict and burdensome, the level of security reflects the transformed space of the World Trade Center due to the attacks. The second type of criticism discusses the supposed lack of scale at the memorial and its supposed formal, gigantic, built-to-awe format. The critiques state that the reflection pools subsume the site and that the urban plaza landscaping creates an inconvenient geometry of spare strips of grass. The reflection pools, however, do not subsume the site. The original guidelines demanded that the tower footprints be outlined in the final design. Thus, the pools are the intended focal point of the memorial and are intended to awe, to give a physical sense of the loss at the World Trade Center. The landscaping of the urban plaza creates a purposeful direction through which visitors go through the memorial. It purposefully integrates the visitors into the sacred urban space and its design elements. The third type of criticism takes issue with the supposed contradictory ideas that it is necessary to keep the site sacred and also necessary to rebuild it for commerce. The memorial, however, should not be faulted for the surrounding city buzz and commercial development. The World Trade Center was an economic and commercial hub in the United States before 9/11, and it was actually for this reason why the Twin Towers were targeted. Thus, the surrounding commercial development gives context to the history and importance of the World Trade Center, instilling vitality and everyday life into the site. On September 25, 2015, Pope Francis visited the National September 11th Memorial and Museum. He commented, "This place of death became a place of life too, a place of saved lives, a hymn to the triumph of life over the prophets of destruction and death, to goodness over evil, to reconciliation and unity over hatred and division." The Pope is correct that this site has become a revitalized place of life. This can be attributed to the commercial development occurring around the site and to the role of the public in attending the memorial, which is facilitated by the design elements. It is the location of the World Trade Center that makes the site sacred due to the attacks, but it is additionally the contemporary use of the space by us, the public, that makes the site sacred. We use and visit the memorial to stroll through and relax in Lower Manhattan, take pictures to document our experience, teach and educate about the events, and remember the individual victims and Twin Towers that were lost. The design of the memorial facilitates this multifunctional nature of the site. The reflection pools and urban plaza merge sacred space and urban public space into one, encouraging us, the visitors, whether locals, domestic tourists, or international tourists, to quickly pass through, eat a meal on the benches, or pay tributes to the victims in the site. The memorial is successful because it does adhere to the original rules and principles of the memorial competition guidelines. The memorial, however, is additionally successful because it creates a sacred urban public space that welcomes visitors. The memorial creates the potential for a lasting legacy of revitalization and public integration of both space and people that will positively define how the memorial will be remembered throughout the years.